Hey everybody, this is Billy at BTUFF Magazine. I have something super cool for you. Today we're going to be taking a look at my own personal racing simulator. That's right, I built it from scratch. Everything on here is pretty much custom except for the components, of course, that I've added. And we're going to get into that. I want to talk about the reviews, everything from the Oculus Rift to the Fanatec Clubsport V3 wheels, steering wheel, and inverted pedals. We'll get into that. And I'll also talk about how I kind of constructed this whole thing and how it all came together. And we'll also be talking a little bit about Iracing dirt, and one of my favorite things to do. So hang on, get ready. We're going to be taking a look at this custom simulator. Get into this build, the first thing I want to talk about is the base unit. As you can see, it has rolling casters on the bottom, right? I wanted this unit to be 100% mobile because we have hard floors here. You can see that, so I can wheel it around real good. But you never know when I'm going to have this space right here for something else, and I can move this from one side of the room to the other. I can slip it into the garage. I can do whatever I want. So having a mobile simulator is a good idea. Once you're in the seat, it doesn't rock at all. It's perfectly stable. Okay, the top is just a diamond plate box. You can get that done in any fabrication place around your town. And I actually had this box piece made, and I had a flat piece made, as you can see back there, for the pedals to sit on. Okay, now the simulator base itself is a very simple one. Play Seats makes it under 300 bucks. I've had it forever. I might upgrade this later, but for right now it works out good. As you can see, that is not the seat that comes with the Play Seat simulator. This seat is an actual real containment seat from a race car, right? If you're familiar with dirt track racing, you'll know that racers use these now, right? And I just wanted the authentic feel of a race car seat, dirt track seat, and it feels just like it. One of the things that I had to do though, as you can see right here, is I had to put some supports up to tilt the seat back because it's too vertical. When you're actually racing, you don't want it that vertical. So you got to have some kind of incline. Normally in a race car, you may see this on a horizontal bar, but for this, I just got 3 pieces of plastic, like PVC that you'd use for gardening, for sprinkler lines, and I just built some spacers and then put a screw through the top of the bolt all the way through, and we got some tilt back. It's got about a 20-degree layback, like most race cars. Okay, let's talk about the Fanatec setup. Now, I was running the G27 stuff. That's perfectly good stuff for new people, but this stuff is the elite. This Fanatec stuff has some serious components in it. You can't probably really see it, but it's got gears. It's got rubber. You can see it. There's like a fan belt in there. There's got a couple of those. They're fully adjustable. You can tighten them back up. And this thing is a high-end unit. It has a lot of strength. You're not going to be able to run this thing at 100%. There's no way. I mean, I think I run it at 6%. So it's got a lot of pull. What's cool about this is the Fanatec Clubsport Wheel V3, that's what this is, will also work on Xbox. As you can see, it's got the Xbox green here. So you can work it on your PC, and if you have an Xbox that you want to slide it into, it will also work with that. Very cool. Now, to go with that, I got a set of the Clubsport V3 inverted pedals. This is a very sophisticated piece for sim racing. It's a very good bang for the buck. You can actually catch these on sale sometimes. I think I got mine on sale, but not as good a sale. Like the Black Friday, they had like 40% off on these, right? They're normally, I think, like $4.99. So as you can tell, that's a huge savings. You can see they're all adjustable here. You can see the Allens, right? The pedals can be moved in various directions. And I'll come back here, and you can see that these things are fully adjustable. There's spring, there's cams in there that you can adjust, the preloads. It also comes with different plugs that you can throw in there that stiffens the brakes. It has a very stiff brake that you would feel in a real race car. It feels like a Tilton brake. It doesn't feel like a G27 soft, mushy thing. It's not like that. This thing feels like the real deal all the way through. So if you're really into sim racing, I would definitely advise in picking that up. This whole unit right here, you're gonna spend about 800 bucks, right? But it definitely changes the experience of the racing. I mean, There's a huge difference between this and a G27. The feel of it, the amount of, shake back and forth, the realism of it is really cool. And it's just a better piece. You can adjust all of the tension through these screws right here. You just loosen the Allen. If it starts to feel a little loose, and you just pull them this way and it tightens everything up, right? Very simple, very cool. The one thing that I got is I really wanted a 14-inch wheel, right? I mean, most race cars use 14, 15, 16-inch wheels, right? The G27 uses a small, I don't know, what, 13-inch or maybe even smaller. It doesn't really feel real, at least not for the dirt track stuff that I do. So we wanted to fix all that. So you can catch these wheels. They're very cheap and inexpensive. This Sparko wheel right here, it's got leather on the outside, pretty well made. I think I picked it up for 35 bucks on eBay, no joke. Right, so that's what's nice about the Fanatec Clubsport right here, is that you can actually add your own wheel on, your own steering wheel, right? And it goes on pretty easy. It's got the buttons, of course, you can see here. I think it has an option to have either a button here or here. I think there's more buttons, but I think I took one set out. I didn't think I needed them. I only have these ones and these ones, right? And then you have all this adjustment. You can see up here, you can actually adjust the tension while you race. I don't do it, but you can actually get into that and you can do the adjustments and navigation through here. Okay, that's that. So I want to talk about, now that we have that figured out, of course we have a sound bar here too. I add a Bose sound bar to the bottom, right? Give me some extra oomph on the sound. And one thing I want to talk about, speaking of sound, before I get too far away, is that this thing has a butt kicker. I know it sounds kind of funny. They've been around forever, but what happens is it works off the bass of the sound system, right? So when the bass hits or deeper tones hit, there is a vibration piece that I'll show you right here that's mounted to the bottom. See it down there? Very simple. It's mounted to the bottom and it shakes the seat, and with the motor and the track and all that stuff. That is a huge piece to the game here, because when that turns off, you lose a sense, like you lose something. You can feel like, oh man, what happened? Like something just shut off, right? That's how cool that feels, that butt kicker. So if you're building a simulator seat, I would definitely advise getting a butt kicker. I'm not sure if they make the model I have anymore. You can catch them on eBay for about 180 bucks. So definitely worth it if you can find it. Okay, I'm gonna wrap around the back here because I want you guys to see how I have it set up. Now I have OCD. I can't have wires hanging all over the place. It would drive me nuts, right? So I built this unit. You can see here, it is 2 poles that come up on either side of the pedals, comes to the top, and everything mounts to it. I bought some weight clamps at the local race shop. You can get them you can buy them at Speedway or somewhere. You can buy them, and you can see they clamp on here. Then I have a long bolt that bolts into it, right? Long bolt goes into it. Very simple. And it allows me to hang stuff. See this stuff right here? I can hang it, right? I can hang like the Oculus. You can see over here, I got my Oculus, which we'll get into in a second. It also allowed me to mount the TV bracket, right? These are the brackets that you buy at Walmart or any place, or Best Buy, and that actually mounts your TV, right? Well, I was able to drill this and go right into this lead clamp, okay? And it's very secure and it's very stable and it's not going anywhere. I love it, man. So getting this stuff, building at 1 inch, I think I have 1 1/4 here, right? That's what it says, 1 1/4. The whole framework is built at 1 1/4, comes all the way down, you can see. I also got some other, I think I picked up some other lead clamps. I don't know if you can see here. Let me turn this on. See, we have some more in here, and this actually bolts to this plate that I built, right? And that holds the computer, which we'll get into in a second, and the power brick and all that stuff. So we don't have computers hanging out on the ground. When I go mobile with this, the whole unit moves around. Okay, do you understand that? So that's what, when you build a mobile unit, think like, okay, well, I want to be able to transfer this whole thing around, not just this, and then pick up the computer. No, you want everything off the ground. Plus, you don't want this stuff around, the ground. It gets dusty, and if you have carpet, it's horrible. So think about that. So let's talk about the computer real quick. As you can see here, this is a gaming computer. It's called the ASUS. I don't know how they pronounce it. I think it's ASUS, whatever, and it's called the Gaming Republic. Now, I'm not a PC person at all. In fact, when I do my work, I do it through Macs. And I'm definitely not smart enough to put together a gaming computer. I am smart enough to go down to the local retailer and give them money and come home and plug it in like an Xbox, okay? And that's basically what this system does. You can go down to Best Buy. I think when I bought it originally, it was about $1,500. I think you can get it now for about $1,250. I think you can get some good deals on these ones. And they have good customer support. And what's nice about this is it's really powerful. Now I know someone's gonna come up and say, oh, that thing's not that powerful. I got this that I built. Yeah, I know you can build something super crazy, but I'm telling you that this is a very powerful gaming computer. I can run Oculus with no issues at all. I can run everything on full throttle. Iracing, everything's all the way up. There's no bog, there's no nothing. So you need a good computer to run Oculus because Oculus takes 10 times more than a regular 2D screen. So if you plan to get Oculus and you plan to use VR in the future, think about picking up a gaming computer. I would recommend the ASUS all day long for the price point and for what I've been able to see it do. Okay, I'm gonna wrap around here. Now we're gonna talk about the Oculus Rift. Now for iRacing, the Oculus Rift is the best thing you could buy to give you the most real feeling, okay? And I know some people say, oh, triple screens, triple screens, triple screens. This blows away triple screens, and I'll get into it on why. And I've used both. I've used both before. When you race on a triple screen monitor, it is a very cool experience because you are wrapped around with 3 screens, right? You have a view to your left, to your right, and it looks pretty cool, okay? The problem is you're still in a 2D world, okay? You still have the ceiling, you still have the floor, you still have all that stuff around you, okay? So you never get the feeling of a car when it rocks over, right? Because yeah, it rocks over, but your whole world doesn't rock over, just the screen rocks over. Does that make sense? When you put the Oculus Rift on, everything that happens in that car, the rotation, the plant to the right front wheel, all that stuff transfers over. I mean, in your mind, it transfers over. So that is the difference between the Oculus Rift and a 3-monitor setup. Plus, the reality is the Oculus is a lot cheaper, right? I mean, you can get a 3-monitor setup for a lot of money. I mean, this screen right here is a basic 4K monitor. It looks very nice, that I picked up from Best Buy, and it's definitely good enough, 100%, or at least for my eyes, it's incredible. And I think I paid like 800 bucks for it, right? I really didn't even need this. If you're gonna use the Oculus, you only need this for navigation, or your friends to watch, because this actually plays while your Oculus is on. I would definitely suggest before you buy a triple monitor setup, if you're thinking about it, to try the Oculus first. And you can get these on sale. I think the Oculus, I mean, I saw it for like, I think it's $399 right now. I could believe. I think when I got it, it was a little bit more than that. But it's definitely something that's awesome. The Oculus has very cool headphones that come in it. They sound really good. And also it has a mic built in. So you don't have a mic hanging out. It's all built in. It's kind of amazing that everything is within this unit right here, right? See that? Isn't that cool? I mean, it's just so, and it fits real good on your face. The only downside is when you have this on, man, you're in your own world. You're not going to be able to see people around you. You're not going to be able to hear things going on. So you're actually, you know, out of the game a little bit as far as reality. It comes with sensors. You can see here, 2 sensors. And these actually track your movement. And it's pretty incredible what they can track. Because, you know, you move your head or whatever, it tracks it. And it's incredible. I would definitely say, though, you know, don't think that you get the Oculus just for iRacing, and then after that, you know, there's nothing else to use it for. The Oculus in itself is amazing. The games they have for it will blow your mind and all your friends' minds. So think about that. So I would give the Oculus a must-buy for iRacers that are definitely serious about it or want to have that feeling of real racing. Of course, you can see here that I do some real racing, and I can tell you that I get the same feeling racing with the Oculus and the butt kicker on and the sounds and all that stuff that I do real racing. I mean, I just do. It just has that same adrenaline rush that you would normally get. So I would definitely give that a 2 thumbs up. You know, one thing that I would suggest, and I know this sounds crazy, is that have a pair of racing gloves. They don't have to be SFI. They can be just standard go-kart gloves. You can get them pretty cheap. I think I got these for 40 bucks or whatever. But if you're racing long races and your hands get sweaty, it's really nice. I mean, it kind of actually feels real too when you got these on and you're racing. It feels like the real deal. Now here's something that most people probably don't use with the Oculus Rift, and I would say this is awesome because anybody that's used it, one thing you'll notice is that your head sweats a lot. I mean, I've handed this thing over to people, and when they give me the Oculus back, it's all drenched in sweat, and I'm like, man, what were you doing in there? right? Well, think about getting a headstock, right? This is a basic headstock you can get anywhere. You don't have to get the SFI version. This is an SFI version, but having this on with your Oculus, it just feels real cool, and the unit feels real tight around your head. And when you got the gloves on, the mask on, it feels like the real deal. Okay, well, here I am. I am geeked out to the max. I've got everything on. And from me, the physical feel of it feels like a real race car. It feels like I have a helmet on. It's really cool. Okay, so I'm going to show you something, how the Oculus actually works. You'll be able to look at the screen and see everything as I see it, right? Now, as I look down, see, I can see my pants. I can look at the drive line. I can look at all that stuff. I can look out the right side. I can look back at the tire. It feels like I can reach out and touch it. You can see my pit guys. Everything I look at is in a 3D world. There is no edges to anything. So for that fact alone, it makes it feel very real. Okay, I'm in a World of Outlaw sprint car now. I'm gonna pull out, do a couple laps here for you. Eldora. Not much getting off the gas of these cars. But the experience is awesome. I mean, it feels so cool. I've never been in a sprint car, but I would imagine that it feels pretty close. Okay, well, now I want to get into the iRacing part of this review. This is the dirt late models. As you see, there's 3 versions of the dirt late models. There is a limited late model, there is a pro late model, and a super World of Outlaw late model. Of course, each one gets a little faster and a little bit more trickier. Pro late models seem to be my favorite. Now, I talked to you guys earlier about the Oculus Rift and how important it is in this game. As you see, what you're looking at right now is a 2D atmosphere, right? It means if you look above your computer, there's probably something behind it, and you look above your head, there's the ceiling. Well, in the Oculus world, when you look up, you see the top of the race car, and when you look to the left, it's the full 360 environment all the way around you. So you can look anywhere you want. You can look down at your pants, you can look up at the ceiling, you can look everywhere. Now, you don't do this, of course, when you're racing, but you do kick your head in a direction like you would when you really race, to the right a little bit when you go through the corners. All that stuff happens. Now, there are people that get seasick from this. I have had many friends, even some that race dirt cars, get on here and get queasy, right? It happens. And for some reason, it's never happened to me. And I think when you're not in control, or when you're learning the game, the car's zigzagging all over the place, and it can make you feel a little weird. But once you actually get in the game, you're probably not going to have that issue. I will say that the Oculus does require a good computer, as we mentioned before. You're not going to be able to take an average computer and probably run the Oculus how you want, because it has to process 10 times more information than a regular screen would do, right? iRacing is, people ask me all the time, how much does it cost? Well, I'll kind of get into it. I bought a 2-year membership through iRacing, and it basically was, I think, $50 a year. 99 bucks for 2 years, right? And once you pay that, you get the game, and I think you get a couple basic vehicles, but you're probably going to want the dirt late model if you're like me, and you're going to want this car, and you're going to want Eldora, like what you're seeing right here. And those cost about 10 bucks. I think they're like $11.95 a piece. Now, they do give you some deals, like the more you buy, I think you get some price breaks, or if you advance through the ranking system on your own, you get some price breaks. But you can expect to pay $11.95 for these. Now, some people say, well, that's a ripoff because I bought the game. Yeah, but here's the thing. Would you rather them charge you another $59? Like if you're going down to buy an Xbox game, you would pay another $59 for a completely different game, right? Dirt track racing is different than NASCAR racing. Well, they didn't do that. They just allowed you to run the dirt on the iRacing platform and then just buy the cars. So that's actually pretty cool. It's a good deal. As far as iRacing, the racing is very competitive. especially when you go into the official races, you can expect to see guys that really know how to race, really know how to set their cars up. You know, these cars take, to be up front, you really do have to tweak on the cars quite a bit to kind of get your setup to your driving style. And also too, once you get a car that works really good, right? Let's say you can go to one track and you can win with that car. Well, then you show up the next track and you're 8th qualifier. The game was smart in that it doesn't really let you set one good setup and you're just going to dominate everywhere you go with that setup. You're always having to constantly tweak on it, just like you would in real dirt track racing, and that's awesome. And you know, they do have, when you get started, you're going to have to go through the ranking system a little bit to be able to race the pro late models and the super late models, and that's for good reason. You know, as you move up, you get better caliber racers and you get people that know what they're doing. And what you don't want is someone in there that just got the game for Christmas or just got the game, has no idea what they're doing, and they're slapping off walls and off cars. That wouldn't be very fun for anybody. So they make sure that you go through the rankings to be able to race with the guys that know what they're doing. It's very smart. And but that doesn't mean that you can't race these late models on your own. You can go create a race, you can create your own rooms, or you can join another room that usually doesn't require ranking. Now they can kick you out. That will happen if someone creates a room and you don't know what you're doing and you're causing a bunch of wrecks. Yeah, they're going to kick you out of that room. But for the most part, everybody's pretty good, and some people are willing to help you out. I will say this, that it is almost impossible to go into a room with guys that know what they're doing and say these words. Hey, does anybody have a setup I can have? Generally, nobody wants to give up their setup because they take so much time to dial in that nobody wants to just give that away. You know, everybody wants you to kind of go out there and earn it yourself. Now, I will say this, joining in on a league or racing over in someone else's room, a lot of times those people are willing to share their setup. So making friends on iRacing is kind of can help you out a lot, actually, in getting started. Now, you know, a lot of people will say, does it feel like real racing, or is it, you know, I will say this, when you race it like in a 2D platform without the Oculus Rift, it kind of feels more like an arcade game, at least to me. Like, I don't have that immersion feeling that I have. When I put the Oculus Rift on and the butt kickers going, it feels real. So I guess that's the difference, you know. And do I think it'll make you a better driver? You know what? I think when you have that Oculus on, yeah, I definitely think that it will improve your driving. In fact, you know, it's not uncommon to catch some of the celebrity racers on here. I've raced a few times with Tony Stewart, and I don't know him. He's just been in the room racing when I race. And of course, Rico's on there, and there's various Cup guys that get on there. Dale Jr. gets on there. There's a lot of guys that actually get on there and race. So you never know who you're going to have in your room, who you're going to race against. And man, some like this battle you see right here, there's a 3-car battle that we had, man. This is definitely some fun racing, man. This is probably one of the funnest iRacings that I've had. So anyway, it's a lot of fun, and I think this is for people that race. I think it's definitely, you know, people say, how much do I have? Let me get it up. How much did that thing cost that I built, right? I probably have about $3,000 in it, just being real, right? People say, God, $3,000 bucks? Are you crazy? Well, I've gone out and blown up $10,000 engines on the first night of racing, right? So it's all relative. The nice thing about this, you hit the reset button, and it's just like new, man. Everything's fixed, and it just gives you hours and hours of enjoyment and and fine tuning on your driving ability, and it's just a lot of fun, man. Meeting new friends and all that stuff. So it's like, and that doesn't necessarily mean either that you have to spend $3,000. Because you can spend anything you want. You could probably build a bare bones system for $1,500. You know, if you had an old seat laying around, and you could weld up a little cage for yourself, or a little, seat, simulator seat for yourself. So I mean, you could do it yourself. You can get by, and you can spend more. I mean, I've thrown around the idea of buying a motion piece to go under my seat, which I might do later on. So it's all how much you want to spend and how much enjoyment you're getting out of it. And for me, it's worth every penny that I put into it. Anyway, this is a review of the Oculus Rift and the Clubsport pedals and wheels and all that stuff. If you have any questions, you can ask me and I'll try to help you out. If you like the video, please subscribe. And I'll create more tech videos with this, especially around racing and stuff. And if I get new things for this, I'll put them on there. And yeah, anyway, man, thanks for watching. This is